When it comes to sustainability in Kiwi businesses, now is the time for action. So how are seasoned corporate sustainability leaders making progress on New Zealand's gnarliest sustainability challenges? Let's find out. I'm Jay Krangle, Head of ESG at the Sustainable Business Council.
I'm Alec Tang, Sustainable Value Partner at KPMG.
And I'm Kule Anthony, Sustainable Value Associate Director at KPMG.
In this joint SBC and KPMG podcast series, we'll be talking with leaders in the business sustainability community in New Zealand about their efforts to shift the dial on sustainability in Aotearoa, despite challenging headwinds. Kia ora koutou katoa, no mai, haere mai. My name is Jay. Welcome to another episode of our Sustainability Superstars podcast. Our guest today is Tom Kelly, who is the Director, Sustainability Handprint at Beca, and he has worked in this space for over 20 years, starting in volunteering roles and then wanting to focus on positively impacting the community and the environment. And he says he's found the sweet spot with Beca, driven by its values and the opportunity its reach brings. And he feels that it has a shared mahi as well as a jointly owned kaupapa. Welcome, Tom.
Kia ora, Jay. Kia ora, Kule.
Kia ora, Tom, and lovely to have you on the podbite. We've been kicking off all of these conversations with asking people how they would describe their job to a 5-year-old. So, yeah, really basic, break it down terms for us.
Cool. Well, happy to give that a go. If I think about it, it's how I help, and when I say I mean many in our business, help our people do their very best work from a sustainability and climate point of view. So that's looking at things like our systems and our processes, making sure that we have the right opportunities and environments for technical expertise to flourish and be shared. We have a hugely diverse set of experiences and to bring that diversity together in a collaborative environment really is the challenge. So that as I said, with others in the role is in the business is what I do. So that's internal. Then there's the external piece too, which is it's really important that I engage with industry and market associations such as SBC, CLC, others, Chapter Zero, Aotearoa Circle, so that we really can advocate for the work that we're doing as a collective, but also as individuals, businesses, communities, and as nations as well, if you look at it at the grandest scale. So it's cool. I have an internal focus and an external focus, and that enables me to feel like I'm, doing the very best that I can for myself, but also for the business.
Nice.
Love that, Tom.
But for those that don't have a handprint role in their organisations, is that advocacy piece, quite a specific part of that role?
Yeah, it is, Kule. The handprint, I'm glad you picked up on that. It is really how we can help our clients do our best work. So we're all familiar with the footprint, which is the emissions and the impact that our operations have. But if you compare that to the impact that we can have as a collective, as a business on the many clients and partners that we work with and communities that we touch, the opportunity there is huge, and it's orders of magnitude larger than our operational footprint. So yes, the handprint is really important, and that is always a work in progress. There's always, as we all know, so much to do. But it's a cool part of the role.
Lovely. Thanks, Tom. You said you've been in this space for about 20 years. You don't look a day over 21, so I don't know how that's happened for you, Tom. Sustainability keeps you young. Jay. I know, right? It's all about the compliments on this podcast. Interested to know, over your time in this space, what's been a wicked sustainability challenge that you've had to tackle, either in your current role or in your history?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about this question because you were kind enough to share this one with me. There's lots of challenges, aren't there? I think the one, though, that is most pressing at the moment is I'm just certain that there is duplication of effort at a business level, a community level, at a nation's level. And so I think the wicked challenge is how do we avoid or minimize, reduce that duplication of effort? Because there's got to be shared efficiencies there. There's got to be the opportunity for 1 + 1 to equal more than 2. There are so many shared problems that if we're able to avoid the importance of things like competitive market pressures and financial reporting, and there is so much pressure to provide for shareholders and stakeholders. But if we're able to maybe set that aside and think about, okay, well, look, what can we do here jointly? And again, I mentioned the associations before. I think that's where those associations come and do some really good mahi. They pull us together, we commiserate together, we celebrate together, but we also look at, co-identifying and co-sharing some of the work, some of the challenges that we can all tackle.
Yeah, it's definitely a sweet spot between competition and collaboration when it comes to sustainability. Tom, what have you learned from kind of navigating those two spheres?
Oh, that's what's the biggest thing to learn? I think, and I might have heard it on a previous podcast. I've certainly heard it said before that we don't often, I guess, celebrate the journey. There's so much to do in the sustainability and climate space, and we will all feel, I'm sure, at times overwhelmed, and this project is enormous to deliver upon. So I think celebrating the journey is important. We move so quickly, and we're bombarded so often with, we're behind time, we're not going to reach the 2030, 2050 goals. There's a baked in urgency that means that sometimes we get stuff done, we put it down, we don't really celebrate, we move on to the next thing. So I think that's a learning. I also think that striking a balance as a sustainability and climate professional is really important. So, and it's sometimes hard. If I think about, balancing things like hope and positivity and optimism with the obvious plight of so many of our communities and natural ecosystems that are being ravaged right at the moment. People are losing their heritage and their culture in the Pacific Island, Pacific Island's not far from here, and we're losing so many Eden Parks worth of native forests. So every minute of every day, and so it's how do you hold those together? How do you hold the enormity of the task with knowing that you only get to where you need to get to through steps at a time? How do you move past incremental to transformational shifts? So the balance is really important, I think.
Speaking of balancing hope with realism, I suppose, Tom, I'd be quite interested to hear from you. What's your hope for the future of sustainable business, having worked here for 20 plus years?
Yeah, my hope goes back to the challenge that I mentioned before, and that is that we manage to crack the nut that is the co-ownership and the co-identification of these problems. I think that they're where we can genuinely, meaningfully, and in an area of open trust, identify these problems and invest collectively to solve them. That is going to be where we get really big gains, I think. And again, that's why things, like the COP and like other big climate conferences, all the way down to our, SPC and CRC, that's why they are important, because that is evidence of how we work together. And if we didn't have those sorts of gatherings, it makes it that much more difficult. Yeah, so the hope is that we work together more inclusively for I guess a shared outcome.
This is a lovely example of a Beca KPMG SBC podcast.
Exactly, Jay. Yeah, exactly. It is absolutely that. We just need
on a small scale,
10x, 12x, 1000x it. But I'm very optimistic. I'm very hopeful that we will get there. It's not going to be pretty, as we know, but we will get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, it's great to hear so many of the superstars that we've been speaking to through the series talk about that as well. And if we just keep saying it, hopefully we will continue to influence and encourage others to do it in our field as well. Just wanted to recap so many pearls of wisdom. I think definitely a thread around collaboration that we heard very strongly, the shared mahi and jointly owning the kaupapa, very much so. And love that idea of really looking at the greatest opportunity for impact, which is reaching beyond the walls of your own organisation to support clients, working with partners, and remembering to stop and celebrate the journey, even when it's really difficult and things feel really urgent. So, thank you, Tom, for all of those insights. We really appreciate you joining us.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, QLA, and thanks, Jay, for organising it. You guys are doing a great job.